and staff. I'm Dr. Eric Young. I'm serving the roles of Acting Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs of Wenzhou-Kean University and Associate Provost of Academic Affairs of Kean University. I'm live streaming with you in the faculty housing of Kean University in New Jersey, where I live in the United States. So thank you for participating in WKU 2020 Student Research Day. Due to the coronavirus pandemic, we have to move the Research Day activities online. However, I want to congratulate all the students for overcoming the worst part of suffering and disruption that coronavirus has caused you and your family. And I'd like to appreciate all of you for efforts and support you have committed to the online education WKU faculty has provided to you. WKU students, faculty, and staff are standing together to overcome the challenge with resilience, confidence, and wisdom. So vaccination, the fast testing kits for nucleic acid and antibody testing, and specific antivirus therapeutics are indispensable solutions to prevent, control, and treat coronavirus disease. The advancement of any of the strategies will be the outcome of vigorous research endeavors. The research can significantly improve human health and make this world much more accommodating to the human beings and all the living creatures. So WKU has been committed to supporting the student engaging research and creativity and providing collaborative research opportunities for faculty and students. So WKU has invested a sizable research fund to support research initiatives. Faculty and students published more than 200 articles in SCI or SSCI index international journals in the past 6 years. WKU faculty members have received more than 130 external research grants, including grants from the National Science Foundation of China. But starting from 2015, WKU initiated a student partnering with faculty or staff research program to support student and faculty collaborative research. In total, 2.1 million Chinese yuan has been provided to more than 200 students to partner with faculty to conduct more than 90 research projects. This year in 2020, 23 SPF or SPS projects has been funded with total amount of 570,000 Chinese yuan. As a result, many students presented their research outcomes at prestigious international conferences and co-authored journal articles with WKU professors, and many times as first authors. And many WKU students has been admitted to some of the best graduate programs in the world due to their significant research accomplishment in their undergraduate studies. In the previous 4 years, more than 900 students participate in the WKU Student Research Day. And on the 5th WKU Student Research Day, which is today, more than 500 students will present their research projects showcased by their 260 poster presentations and the 30 video oral presentations. You can view all the posters and the video presentations from WKU official website. A faculty judge team will select the best presentations to receive awards based on the merit research and the presentation itself. The Kean University in New Jersey will have the Kean Research Days in about a week. Since it's also an online event, WKU students will be able to view the research presentations of Kean USA students. To celebrate student and faculty research and creativity at WKU, Dr. Jeff Toney, the Provost and Vice President for Faculty and Research of Kean University, sent his celebration remarks for WKU Student Research Day. So now let's watch his remark video.
From Kean USA. As the Chief Academic Officer of Kean University, I wanted to give special welcome and congratulations to those of you at Wenzhou-Kean University to celebrate Research Days, an annual event that we have held for 12 years now Each year, we see a record-breaking number of students engaged in all types of projects, creative, innovative, across the sciences, arts, and humanities. This year, once again, we have a record-breaking number of about 2,300 students, of which 510 are at Wenzhou-Kean University. I wish I could give you these remarks in person, but as we all know, we're dealing with this terrible pandemic of the COVID-19 virus, and we are working remotely from home, quarantined in many cases. But despite those challenges, I want you to realize that in every great challenge, there are opportunities and opportunities for innovation. For example, I'm sure many of your projects address issues that we're dealing with in technology. As an example, you may know that one of my other roles is as a visiting professor at MIT, and my colleagues in Cambridge, during this time of quarantine, have actually developed a special ventilator which will be available to help many patients suffering from respiratory disease. This is just one example of turning a crisis into an opportunity and challenging the human spirit and innovation. This is the reason why research is so important. I'm very proud that many of you at Wenzhou-Kean, once you graduate, you go on to graduate and professional schools at some of the best institutions in the world. And I know that you will continue that success. Let me also give special congratulations to the class of 2020. And I look forward to seeing some of you in New Jersey and maybe even in Cambridge someday. So congratulations again, keep up the great work, and don't let this great challenge deter you in any way. I have confidence that you will succeed. Thank you. From Kean USA. As the Chief Academic Officer of Kean University, I wanted to give special welcome and congratulations to those of you at Wenzhou-Kean University to celebrate Research Days, an annual event that we have held for 12 years now. Each year, we see a record-breaking number of students engaged in all types of projects, creative, innovative, across the sciences, arts, and humanities. This year, once again, we have a record-breaking number of about 2,300 students, of which 510 are at Wenzhou-Kean University. I wish I could give you these remarks in person, but as we all know, we're dealing with this terrible pandemic of the COVID-19 virus, and we are working remotely from home, quarantined in many cases. But despite those challenges, I want you to realize that in every great challenge, there are opportunities and opportunities for innovation. For example, I'm sure many of your projects address issues that we're dealing with in technology. As an example, you may know that one of my other roles is as a visiting professor at MIT, and my colleagues in Cambridge, during this time of quarantine, have actually developed a special ventilator which will be available to help many patients suffering from respiratory disease. This is just one example of turning a crisis into an opportunity and challenging the human spirit and innovation. This is the reason why research is so important. I'm very proud that many of you at Wenzhou-Kean, once you graduate, you go on to graduate and professional schools at some of the best institutions in the world. And I know that you will continue that success. Let me also give special congratulations to the class of 2020. And I look forward to seeing some of you in New Jersey and maybe even in Cambridge someday. So congratulations again, keep up the great work, and don't let this great challenge deter you in any way. I have confidence that you will succeed. Thank you. From Kean USA.
Okay, welcome back. Thank you for watching the video provided by Dr. Toney twice. It's always good to listen to some important comments twice. Okay, thanks to Dr. Toney for his encouraging remarks. So in order to increase university research capacity and provide opportunities for students to engage in the cutting-edge research, the Wenzhou municipal government offered 2 million Chinese yuan each year to WKU for recruiting nationally or internationally acclaimed researchers. The WKU aimed to recruit high research achieving professors in biology, computer science, mathematics, psychology, and the business this year, and in other academic disciplines in the next year. Dr. Siew Woh Choo is the first high research achieving professor who joined the College of Science and Technology of WKU starting the spring semester. Dr. Choo received a Bachelor of Science in bioinformatics from University of Malaya and a Master of Science Bioinformatics from National University of Singapore and a Ph.D. in genetics from the Cambridge University in the UK. So he is the founder and chief scientist of the International Pangolin Research Consortium. So for the student, you don't know the pangolin is, in Chinese, pangolin is 穿山甲. Dr. Choo has published over 60 articles in highly impactful citation of more than 5,600. Dr. Choo has acquired research grants, a total amount of more than 12 million Chinese yuan. Dr. Choo is a reputable researcher in the bioinformatic genomics and the pangolin genetics. The Dr. Choo's recent research is to identify the bona fide intermediate animal host of coronavirus and the potential therapeutic effects of 2 novel compounds against coronavirus. Today, Dr. Choo, the keynote speaker of WKU Student Research Day, will share his inspiring research experience by giving a presentation entitled My Roadmap to Become Scientist. Dr. Choo, I'm going to turn it over to you.
First, I would like to thank Professor Eric Yang for the nice introduction. And good morning to all my colleagues and our inspiring students. I'm Siew Woh Choo. You can call me Choo. Which is my surname. It's my honor keynote speech at this wonderful research event. Actually, this is my first time to join this event in WKU, and also my first time to use this special way to meet all of you in this critical period. However, I hope all of you are doing well and enjoy today's event. So today I'm going to share my personal experience and also the roadmap to become a scientist. I hope you can learn some useful information from my personal story and also experience. So let me share my PPT with you. Please wait. And for your information, my research interests are in bioinformatics, genomics, pangolin, and medicine. I know many of you are non-science students. Therefore, I will try to not use too many terms in my presentation. Research journey. I'm from Malaysia, Southeast Asia. If you look at this map, Malaysia is here, highlighted in red color, which is very small. I did my first degree in bioinformatics at University of Malaya, which is the oldest university in Malaysia. Then I received a scholarship from Singapore government to do a master's degree at School of Medicine under this National University of Singapore, or NUS. So Singapore is very close to Malaysia, which is here. So I think it's very small, you can't see it, but it's really close to Malaysia. So after I finished my study, I worked in Biopolis for about 2 years. So Biopolis is actually an international biomedical research hub in Singapore. This is very nice place to do research and also to look for collaborations. I will talk more about this in my next couple of slides. So in year 2008, I decided to do a PhD because I think PhD is very important if I want to pursue my career in research. Therefore, I went to Cambridge to do my PhD in genetics, working on Drosophila genomics. After that, I returned to Malaysia here to join University of Malaya and set up my own research group. So in 2016, I and my family decided to move to China. So I worked with Xi'an Jiaotong Liverpool University for about 3 years before I joined Wenzhou-Kean University. So my training in master's degree is one of the important steps in my research career. So I was very lucky and selected to join this special program developed by Bioinformatics Institute and National University of Singapore. So at that time, the Singapore government invested a lot of money to build this biopolis or biomedical hub. So they need many bioinformaticians to provide support to researchers in Singapore. So this is very intensive and full-time training. So besides attending lectures at this NUS, School of Medicine, so we need to attend many activities. For example, we need to go back to this BII, or Bioinformatics Institute, based in Biopolis, to attend many seminars presented by scientists at BII. For students, we have our own journal clubs. So what we do is we read the latest papers published in Nature and Science journals. Each of us need to present, and we will try to discuss the topic together. So this is very useful journal club because we can know the latest development in our area. So under this training, each of us need to do 2 internships. So I did my first internship in a brain tumor research lab at National Cancer Center of Singapore. And my second internship is at Genome Institute of Singapore. It's also based in Biopolis, so just next to Bioinformatics Institute. So this is not a short-term internship. If I'm not wrong, we spent about 6 months, at least 6 months, attached to this research center and help them to do some research. And to get better exposure in our bioinformatics area, our sponsor sent all students to attend international conference. For example, this current research conference in UK. So after this comprehensive training, so we have better exposure or understanding on what is bioinformatics. So what people usually do in this area, and also what is research. So I think this is very good training for master's student. So after the completion of this intensive training, I joined my sponsor, Bioinformatics Institute, as a bioinformatics specialist. So I like the working environment in Biopolis. Maybe I can share with you because the idea is quite good. So basically, Biopolis was designed to promote research and collaboration between the universities, research institutes, and also private companies. So you can see, look at this picture. There are many buildings here. in this hub, many national research institutes and also international pharmaceutical companies such as Eli Lilly, Novartis, they are all based in this medical hub. So these buildings are connected with each other through these bridges. So that means it's very easy for us to move from one building to another building to see our collaborators or to explore collaboration. And they also promote coffee break culture. So what is this? So we usually try to have a coffee break in afternoon, not because we are lazy to work or we want to talk gossip of our colleagues. Actually, we use this opportunity to discuss our research, to exchange our ideas. So this culture is quite good because we can get good research ideas in our discussions during these coffee breaks. So I will encourage our staff and students to have coffee breaks in WKU because it's really good. And don't worry if you don't drink coffee because you can drink tea during the breaks. So during working in Biopolis, one of my projects, the main projects, was the International Human ENCODE project. ENCODE stands for Encyclopedia of DNA Elements. After the completion of the first human genome sequencing project, so people launched this ENCODE consortium to identify all functional elements in human genome. So this is very big consortium, and we got about 60 research groups from around the world to work on this human genome. So we use different technologies and also approaches to annotate the human genome. So we put in a lot of efforts and time and had many conference calls to discuss our results or to share our data with other scientists. Although it's difficult, I think it's worth because we have published our works in the top journals, for example, Nature Journal and also Genome Research Journal. Again, I would encourage our staff and students to join this kind of international consortia or projects because it's really good experience and also exposure in research. Moreover, you can see how people do good research and manage big research projects together. And this kind of consortium also provide a good platform for you to build your network in your area because you can know many top scientists in your area. So they may help you in the future. For example, they may help you to write letter of recommendation when you look for a job or when you apply for a master's degree or Ph.D. in future. Ph.D. training in Cambridge is another important path in my career. So I was a student registered under this Department of Genetics. But most of the time, I did my experiments in other buildings. For example, I've got a lab here, Department of PDN. PDN stands for Physiology, Development, and Neuroscience. And sometimes I did my experiment in this building, Cambridge Systems Biology Center. So during my PhD, I had two supervisors. So Steve Russell from this Department of Genetics and Rob White from PDN. I know many people do like to have many PhD supervisors. Actually, I may have different view because the more supervisors we have is actually better for us because they are from different areas. You can learn more from them. And sometimes they will give you different views. This is very important because you can broaden your views, which is very important to help you to come up with new research idea or sometimes to solve problems in research. So that's why I like to have many supervisors in my PhD training. And I completed my PhD earlier within 2.5 years, because the normal PhD in Cambridge is 3 to 4 years. And I found that it's very important to learn how to manage time and research projects if you want to deliver your work on time or do a good research. And I just want to share with our students, actually I was impressed with this kind of transferable skill trainings in Cambridge. So basically students, undergraduate students or postgraduate students, they have option to attend this kind of training. For example, time and project management, writing skills, how to deal with stress, how to negotiate, or how to deal with your supervisors. So I think this kind of training is very important. It's very good for your personal and professional development. I'm not sure whether WKU has this kind of training, but if we have, I think you should take opportunity to attend this kind of training. So after the completion of my PhD, I returned to the University of Malaya. So it was very good timing, because at that time, received a special high impact research grant from Malaysian government. They got about 1 billion RMB, so which is about 200 million per year. But they need to meet many targets. For example, they need to improve their world ranking from 167 to top 100 within 5 years. And they also need to publish many papers in Q1 journals. Q1, that means the top 25% of the journals in your area. Of course, they also ask for the patents, academic icons. Academic icons means you need to collaborate with the top scientists in your area. So how to define whether they are academic icons? So they must have hash index of at least 30. And we also need to train many bright spot students. So that means they are the top PhD students. So how to define whether they are bright spot or not? So they must publish 4 papers in Q1 or Q2 journals before they can graduate. So that means the students need to take the challenge, because it's not easy to publish 4 papers within 3 years. So basically, this is my, if you look at this picture, so this is my former VC. So he got this kind of idea. And then he talked to government and tried to ask for this money. And he's very nice and humorous person. If you look at the way how he answered the questions from auditor. So the auditors came here to audit the grant. So they asked my former VC, how long and how much time do you spend conceptualizing the HR project? And he answered, there's not been much thinking. It all comes from intuition and gut feelings. So this is how he usually answer people. So actually, I know he worked very hard, try to come up with this kind of idea. And he also appointed many advisors. For example, we have Nobel laureates. So some of you may know, this is David Baltimore. And then we have Barry Marshall to be the advisors of this project. So after 5 years, so they did very well. You can see the worst ranking. So from 167, now in year 2020, its ranking is 70. So that means it's quite successful to improve world ranking through this high impact research grant. So at the end of my PhD training, my former Vice Chancellor visited me in Cambridge. He asked me to return to University of Malaya, and he offered me 8 million. Of course, this is not personal money, so it's for me to do research. It's a funding, research funding. But he set many targets. So that means if I accept this offer, first you need to publish 50 papers in Q1 journals, and then you need to have 5 patents, 5 academic icons, and 5 bright spot students. Many of my friends advised me not to take this offer because it's very risky. So, if I join actually I need to start from scratch, everything from scratch. I need to set up my lab, I need to recruit people and purchase equipment. All take time. And there's another important risk. If I cannot deliver all of these targets, they may blacklist me to apply for other grants in future. And they also think I should stay in Cambridge because it's good for my future career. So it was very hard decision to make. So if you or me, I'm not sure how you will decide on this. But for me, I decided to accept the challenge. So I returned to and to set up my lab. So this is my bioinformatics lab. And since in bioinformatics, we need to analyze big data, so I immediately set up this cluster computer. So this is a big server, so it can help me to process big data, like human data or pangolin data. And we also set up this high-performance workstation. So we use this equipment to process small data, for example, microbial data. Of course, in bioinformatics, we need to use many software to analyze data. So we have installed many software in our server. I also established many research collaboration with top universities and also research institutes. Actually, this is one of the requirements set by my former Vice Chancellor, because he thinks this kind of collaboration is very good for or university, because you can improve the reputation of the university through this kind of collaboration. So to achieve my targets, I need to run many projects. So I cannot do it alone. So I need team members. So these are my team members in this picture. So most of them are my students. So they did internship in my group. And after that, they like to work on my projects. So they stay in my group to do master's degree or PhD. And many of them are not from bioinformatics background. Some of them are from computer science, or some of them are from biology. So I need to spend a lot of time to train them before they can work on my projects. And if you look at the picture on the top, so this is Professor Rob White, and this is Professor Stephen Russell. So both of them are my PhD supervisors. So they visited me to discuss collaboration, and because we have some collaboration after I left Cambridge. And they also give advice to my students and share experience on how to do research. So which is very good for my students. So I appreciate that. Actually, I try to put in a lot of time to train them. I think it's worth that I see their very good achievements in their career. For example, Dr. Wenzhou-Kean is my former Ph.D. student. He's working with National University of Singapore. And Dr. Wei is working with Monash University. And Naresh is working with a pharmaceutical company in the UK. And Malaya is my master's student. So he's very happy guy. So he got a scholarship from Japanese government to do a PhD at Tokyo University. And IFNE and Chua are my former master student. So they are in Canada. Chua is working with IBM company. So all of them have very good career. And this slide just to show you the overview of the sub-programs under my medical bioinformatics program. So due to the time constraint, I will focus on this pangolin genomics because it's one of the important sub-programs in my lab. So Pangolin genome sequencing project was one of the largest projects in my lab in UM. So since this is a big project, I tried to establish an international research consortium and put all my pangolin research projects under this consortium. I also invited my collaborators to join this consortium. So most of them are my former collaborators of ENCODE project. For example, we have Professor Mark Gunstein from Yale University. So he's expert in pseudogene analysis. And we have Professor Stephen O'Brien. He's expert in evolution. And Professor Antoinette from South Africa. She's expert in African pangolins. And Sujin from Peking University. So she's expert in Chinese pangolin. And this is Leonard Lipovic, my former boss in Singapore. He's expert in non-coding gene analysis. So you can see they have different expertise or strength. So we try to work together and leverage our strength to meet our research goals in this consortium. So therefore, collaboration is very important because if you can work together, we can share knowledge and even we can share resources. For example, when I try to analyze pangolin genome, which is very large, the size is similar to a human genome. So even for my cluster computer, we couldn't handle it. So how to address this problem? So Steven got a big server in Russia. So we use his server to analyze the genome. So you can see how important is collaboration. So I will encourage you to collaborate with other people because it is very good for you and you can do better research and solve very complex research problems through collaboration. And just for your information, pangolins are endangered species. They are also the most trafficked mammals in the world. Many famous people such as Prince William, Jackie Chan, Angela Baby, they are ambassadors of pangolins. So they raise public awareness of pangolins and to protect these endangered species. So why study pangolins? Many people ask me, why you want to study this animal? Since many people like to study the human. So before I tell you the reasons, so let me briefly introduce the background of pangolins. So there are 8 pangolin species in the world. So these four are from Asia. The other 4 from South Africa. So this is a Chinese pangolin. So it's mainly from China. So highlighted in this orange color. And this is Malayan pangolin. is mainly from Southeast Asia, highlighted in blue. For example, Singapore, Malaysia, and Indonesia. So I'm very curious on this animal because there are many unique traits we can observe on these pangolins. For example, pangolins are the only mammals that have scales. So why? I'm interested to know the answer. And I'm also interested to know why they do not have teeth and they have very poor vision but strong sense of smell. So basically, they cannot see, but they locate prey such as ants, termites, through smelling. And they also have very strong muscle. So when you try to touch pangolins, they will roll into a ball like what you see in this picture. If you ask 4 or 5 persons to open it, actually you can't, because their muscles are very strong. And most interestingly, so we know that captive pangolins frequently die from infection, for example, lung, skin, and stomach. So therefore, it's very difficult to keep pangolins in captivity. So I'm very interested to know why they are frequently die from infection, and also why they have this kind of unique traits. So I believe the answers are in pangolin DNA or genome sequence. Therefore, I sequenced the first pangolin genome in the world, and we have published our works in this genome research journal, which is one of the top journals in bioinformatics. So if you are interested, you can read this paper. But for today, I just highlight some key findings in this study. So one of the key findings in this study is that we found the interferon epsilon or IFNE genes are pseudogenized in pangolins. Pseudogenized means they lost the function. So these genes lost the normal function in pangolins, or they cannot function properly. So this is very interesting finding because this IFNE gene is very important. So it's expressed in the epithelial cells or mucosa. Or in other words, it's expressed in the outer layer of our skin and also the outer layer of inner organs such as lung, stomach, and so on. So many studies have shown that this gene is very important in immunity. So that prevent pathogens to enter our body through our skin or mucosa. So our data show that IFNE gene is unlikely to function properly in pangolins, suggesting that resistance to infection is impacted. So that means pangolins have poor immunity due to the loss of this gene. So if this is true, this may explain why pangolins are difficult to keep in captivity and they usually die from infection. For example, lung infection, skin infection, and also stomach infection. So of course, if this hypothesis is true, what we will expect? So we should expect this gene is also pseudogenized in other African pangolin species. Because we only work on Asian pangolins. So we need to prove this gene is also pseudogenized in African pangolins. So how to solve this problem? Since we cannot access to these African pangolin species. So I contacted my collaborators in South Africa. So I asked them to examine this gene in all African pangolin species. So interestingly, we found that this gene is also pseudogenized in all African species. So these are the 4 African pangolin species. So you can see some mutation or insertion in this gene. So this support or provide evidence to support our hypothesis. So this gene is pseudogenised or lost the function even before the separation of African and Asian pangolins. So it may occur very long time ago, for example, 20 million years ago. So our observation or result raises many interesting questions. For example, if they have very poor immunity, skin immunity or mucosa immunity, but they need to expose to pathogens. So how they can cope with these pathogens and survive until today? Because after they lost it, they have very poor immunity, we will expect pathogens can easily enter the body of pangolins, and they usually will die and cannot survive. But if you look at these wild pangolins, they are very healthy. So why? So we suspected there could be some modifications occur in the pangolin genome over evolutionary time. And this modification can boost the immunity of pangolins. So we further analyzed the pangolin genome and we found many evidence to show that many immunity genes were modified. So this may help to boost the immunity of pangolins to cope with these pathogens. So that's why they can survive until today. So if you want to know more about our results, so you can read the original paper. And for your information, pangolins are the only mammals have scales. But if you look at the closest relative of pangolins, for example, panda, cat, and dog, so all of them have the hairs covering almost the whole body. So it's believed that the scales were evolved from the hairs. So if it's true, we will expect many genes, especially those genes involved in scale or hair development, were modified over evolutionary time. So that's why the hair was transformed into the scale. Sorry for the interruption. So we found many evidence. For example, we found many genes important for the hair or skin development were modified in the pangolin genomes. One of the example is keratin, the disease gene. So since pangolins are the only mammals that lost IFNE genes, or they have very reduced skin immunity. Therefore, in this paper, we propose scales might have evolved to compensate for the decreased skin immunity. Of course, we need to find more evidence to prove this hypothesis. So our research will not stop here. So we are still investigating and collecting more evidence to support this hypothesis. And we hope to publish a paper very soon. And in this study, we also found some genes important for tooth development and vision are pseudogenised in pangolins. So this may partially explain why pangolins have no teeth and also poor vision. Our work has reported by many media, for example, Xinhua Daily, CCTV.com, and Provost. And our paper has also recommended by this the expert from F1000 Prime as good for teaching, because our analysis is very comprehensive. So this is very good example to use in teaching. Because when I teach some subject, for example, the evolution, so I try to use this example to show the students. And more encouragingly, so our paper has received very high online attention score, which is around 103. So this score can indicate the quality and quantity of online attention that it has received. So out of 14 million papers, so our paper is in top 1%, so which is very encouraging. So at WKU, so what I'm doing now, so I will continue to run this International Pangolin Research Consortium, because this is very important for my research. It's also important to increase the reputation of WKU. So now we have attracted more universities to join us, for example, Zhejiang University, Sichuan University, and Fudan University. And these are the members under this consortium, or IPAC. We have two scientific advisors, Professor Stephen O'Brien and Professor Mark Gunstein. So both are my long-term collaborators. So we have been working for more than 10 years, and they have been very active in bioinformatics and also pangolin research. And at the bottom are some selected members under this consortium. So basically, we have very different strength or expertise. So we try to leverage our strength to meet our missions of this consortium. For your information, we are planning to set up the China Pangolin Research Center in WKU. Together with this foundation, China Biodiversity Conservation and Green Development Foundation, or CBCGDF. So this foundation is a well-known first-level society in China, and they are committed to the conservation of biodiversity and green development. Our goal is to be a world-leading center of excellence for scientific research in pangolins. We have many missions. First, we want to undertake scientific research to learn more about pangolins, particularly the biology and genetics of the pangolins, using different technologies, especially the technologies from omics, to improve the conservation of pangolins. And for your information, pangolin skills have been used in traditional Chinese medicine to treat various conditions. For example, to treat cancers, inflammation, promote blood circulation, and stroke, and so on. Therefore, I'm interested to study the medicinal values of pangolin skills using scientific approach. And we hope we can find alternatives to replace pangolin skills as the ingredient of TCM. So this is very important, because if we can find alternative, we can reduce the demand of pangolins. So this is another way how we can protect pangolins. And we are also studying human diseases using pangolin as a comparative model. And this research center is a very good platform to promote research collaborations. If you are interested, so we welcome you to join and explore more collaboration including our research consortium. Before I start my presentation, I want to summarize or share some tips that I think are very important if you want to do a good research or you want to be a successful scientist. So curiosity is very important. So as a scientist, you need to be curious and always ask questions based on your observation. And you also need to be competitive because research today is very competitive. So many people may work on similar things. So you need to publish the results faster than them. So of course, you need, to make yourself very competitive, you also need to have very good time and project management skills. Or some people will try to avoid competition. For example, you can work on very unique project, or you can try to collaborate with your competitors in similar projects. In this case, you can avoid competition. That's why research collaboration is very important. So it's not just to avoid competition, but you also can share resources and try to do better research and address more complex research problems. Of course, as a scientist, sometimes you need to identify opportunity and grab it if you think it's very important for your career. If you are passionate in research, I think you are one big step closer to become a successful scientist. Because it will motivate you to learn and to come up with very good research idea. As a scientist, sometimes you need to take risks. This is very important. So you need to learn how to take the risk because all research have risk. So we do know the outcome of the research. That's why we want to investigate and do the research. We may fail in our experiments, but it's fine because the failure actually may help us to success. Because sometimes we can learn something from the failures and then we are success. So this is very important. So you need to try to take some risk if you want to do research. So I hope this presentation is very useful for you all. So thank you very much for your attention. And we have a short Q&A session. So I will try to select some question and answer it. But don't worry, if you have other questions after this presentation, you still can contact me through this email. So let me look at some questions. So maybe I'll try to answer one question. So these questions are in Chinese, so I will try to interpret. So what are the biggest challenge in my work? Actually, I'm working on pangolins. You know, pangolins are protected animals. So it's difficult to do research on pangolins because based on my past experience, when I sequence the pangolin genome, so I ask for the pangolin samples or pangolin DNA. So we need to apply for permit at the wildlife department, and even need to get approval from the ministry. So all take time. So to get a permit, actually I spent almost 1 year. So that means after 1 year, I can start to collect the samples. But doesn't mean you can get the samples anytime. You need to wait. So you need to wait when they've got the pangolins, and then they will call you, and then you need to go to collect the samples. And even when I try to send the sample to overseas, I also need to apply for the international scientist permit. It takes very long time. So basically, I waste a lot of time to apply for the permits when I work on pangolin. So I think this is the biggest challenge in my work. But I think since I'm interested to work on pangolins, so I do mind to apply for this permit. And another question, so how I balance research and my life? Actually, I think all of us need to balance. That's why I talk about the time management or project management. So we need to allocate the time, even for my family, because I have family, and we need to allocate the time to do research. So I cannot spend 24 hours just to work on research. So that's why we need to learn how to manage the time and to balance it. And for another question, for my research in the pangolin and medicine, so I work on specific disease or mechanism or any specific drug target. Yes, actually, we have studied the pangolin skill. So we use different technologies to identify the components in skills. And even we use a really high technology microscope to visualize the structure. So based on our data analysis, we have identified many drug targets. And then we are testing whether these drugs can try to treat the disease, for example, cancers. So this is what we are working on. So we'll expect to do many experiments to prove it, because we want to use scientific approach to see whether these drugs can cure the diseases, for example, the cancers. So once we know it, and then we will try to study the mechanism. How does this work? So this is what we are doing. And we also have some drug targets. So we have just filed patents for these drug targets. So that's why in my group, this is our main research focus. And we hope many people to join us, and then we can perform more experiments to speed up our discovery. And for another question, so for researchers, what are the important quality? So I think as a researcher, so I mentioned about some criteria. So you need to be very curious, and you need to be honest. I don't try to change the results in your experiment, because I know many people try it. And then you need to be open and accept any views from other people, because it will help you to improve or broaden your views. So you shouldn't restrict yourself, just accept your own view. So this may be not right as a researcher. So there's another question. So what's the biggest challenge in my pangolin research and conservation? So as I just mentioned, so in this pangolin research, we need to use many samples. So it's very difficult to get the samples. And sometimes other researchers have the samples, but they are not willing to share. So that's why for my research center, we are planning to build a national pangolin tissue bank. So we try to collect all of these samples and work on many research. Even we try to share these kind of samples with other scientists, because we hope they also can access to these samples and do the research to accelerate the research discovery. So I think we are running out of time. So this is my last question, questions. So I will pass it to Professor Eric Young.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Choo, for insightful, inspiring presentations. I'm always amazed by the fact that Dr. Choo received his PhD only within 10 years, but has achieved so much research accomplishments. So I as a Chief Academic Officer, I feel very fortunate to have Dr. Choo join WKU as a faculty member who will advise student research. So I believe, he is a very inspiring role model of our student researcher. I encourage students who have interest in his research should approach Dr. Choo for any research opportunity in his lab. I also like to thank students who participate to this keynote presentations. I appreciate students who ask questions. You guys did a very good job. I hope you spend some time on viewing the poster and oral presentations of your peer students. I hope you all enjoy WKU Student Research Day and have fun. I'm looking forward to seeing all of you, hopefully sometime soon. Have a good day. Bye-bye.